Assalamu alaikum dear student, welcome to my channel Medical Lecture and Mnemonics. Today I am going to talk about the anatomy of the uterus. So before discussing the anatomy, if you are new to my channel, please subscribe, like and share to your friends so that they can also get benefits. So in this video I will discuss the definition of the uterus, the parts of the uterus, the layers of the uterus, the uterine tube and ligament of uterus, and the vessel relationship of uterus. So the uterus is a hollow pear-shaped organ which is present in the female pelvis, and it is about 7.6 centimeter long and 4.5 centimeter width, and it has 3 centimeter in thickness. So the parts of the uterus, there are mainly 4 parts of the uterus. Here you can see this rounded part of the uterus is called a fundus. This is called a fundus. And this large part of the uterus, here you can see from here up to here, it is called the body of the uterus, which is also called the uterine corpus. And this portion of the uterus from here up to here you can see this portion of the uterus is called the cervix of the uterus, and the fourth part of the uterus is called the cervical canal. So this cavity of the body of the uterus is called a uterine cavity, and it is communicated to the cervical canal through an opening. This proximal opening of the cervix is called the internal cervical os, and the uterine cavity is connected to the cervical canal and to the vagina through the external cervical os. Here you can see this opening of the cervix is called external cervical os. So the layers of the uterus, mainly there are 3 layers of the uterus. The layer that line the uterine cavity, here you can see this black layer. This black layer is called endometrium, which is hormone responsive. And this green layer of the uterus, here you can see this green layer of the uterus is called the myometrium, which is mainly made of smooth muscle and a small amount of fibrous tissues. In the third layer, I have not drawn here, is the perimetrium, which is a part of the peritoneum, which I will discuss later. So the uterine tube, here you can see these are called uterine tube or the fallopian tube. These are arise from the lateral side of the body of the uterus. Here you can see these are arise from the lateral side of the body of the uterus, and the uterine tube also have 5 parts. Here you can see this wavy parts of the uterine tube is called a femori, and from femori up to here this part of the uterine tube is called infundibulum. And here you can see this portion of the uterine tube or the fallopian tube is called ampulla, and this portion of the uterine tube is called isthmus, and the part of the uterine tube which is present just inside the uterine body is called the intramural part of the uterine tube. See, this is called ovary, and the ovary is not directly connected to the uterine cavity, but it is connected through the fallopian tube. So these femori actually sweeps the ova from the ovary into the fallopian tube and then into the uterine cavity. So now the ligaments of the uterus, mainly there are 3 ligaments of the uterus. One is the round ligament. Here you can see this ligament is called a round ligament. This ligament, which is the lateral of the body of the uterus or the corpus, uterine corpus, this ligament is called a round ligament. And this ligament actually start from here and this then attach to the labia majora. It leaves the pelvis through the deep inguinal ring and then traverse the inguinal canal and then come out through the superficial inguinal ring and then attach to labia majora. It is a supporting structure for the uterus. And the other ligament here, you can see this is called the ovarian ligament, which attach the ovary to the lateral wall of the uterine corpus. And the other ligament is broad ligament, which is the part of the peritoneum, serous layer of the peritoneum. And the broad ligament which cover the uterus, is called perimetrium. The broad ligament which cover the uterus is called the perimetrium, while the broad ligament which is drawn over the fallopian tube is called a mesosalpinx. It's called a mesosalpinx. Here you can see this broad, for this portion of the perimetrium is called a mesosalpinx, and the broad ligament in the portion of the broad ligament which cover the interior surface of the ovary is called a mesoovarium. Here you can see this is called a mesoovarium. And the rest of the portion of the broad ligament is called the mesometrium. And the main function of the broad ligament is to which attach the uterus to the pelvic wall. Now the visceral relationship, the uterus it is present just between the bladder and the rectum. The anteriorly it has bladder, and posteriorly it has rectum. And there is a pouch between the uterus and the bladder. Anteriorly, this pouch is called uterovesical pouch, and the pouch between the uterus and the rectum is called uterorectal pouch, which is also called the pouch of Douglas. And the pouch of Douglas, it is the most inferior portion of the peritoneal cavity in which the fluid can accumulate. So this was all about the anatomy of the uterus. In the next video, I will discuss the pathology of the uterus, like the tumors of the uterus, like the inflammatory condition of the uterus. So thanks for watching the video, and don't forget to subscribe, like, and share.